everyone, and welcome to episode number 60 of the NordCast. It is Saturday, June 29th, 2024, and it is relatively early in the morning. We are very tired. I am your host here, Nord97, joined with Carter. How are we doing today, Carter?
We're doing all right. Oh my God.
It's deep voice Carter here today, joining us.
Yeah.
Who got home from work at 12:30?
I didn't get home from work until probably about 1.
Jesus Christ. And it is almost 9 a.m. his time. So the dedication from Carter is unreal right now.
I
But
ain't missing.
he ain't missing a pod, especially episode number 60. But last night was the 2024 NHL Draft round 1, and I figured that since we had time to make an episode here this morning, I figured we would talk about round 1 of the draft and then go over some free agency stuff that is going to happen. So we'll get straight into it here. We're gonna go through every pick, but we're not gonna go incredibly in depth with every single pick. If we have thoughts, we'll spread them. We'll say stuff. But first overall, no surprise, Macklin Celebrini to the San Jose Sharks. That was the only thing that I think we got right in our mock draft.
No, we had
really?
Caden Lindstrom was right. Dean Letourneau was right.
Well, yeah, we got a couple of things right, but Celebrini was the obvious one that we got correct. San Jose, I think, actually had a really good draft. They picked 11th and got Sam Dickinson. I like that pick too. But Celebrini at first overall, I think is a great pick. Second overall is Chicago. By the way, if you're wondering where Jack is not going to get up this early for a podcast. Artem Levshinov went second overall to the Blackhawks. I like it. Jack figured they were going to take Demidov. I don't know where your stance was on that, Carter.
I think from the first mock draft, I said Levshinov.
Yeah,
I could not see them taking another forward, especially with the young forward core that they have as far as prospects and everything. Yeah. I was like, they need a number 1 defenseman, and if you got a chance to go take Levshinov, you might as well.
And I figured with a defensively powered draft, I didn't think they would go in the direction of forward here, especially with someone like Levshinov still there. So I think it's a good move. It's been the rumor for a while that they were going to go with defenseman. I know Jack wanted a forward, but regardless, it's the direction they go with defenseman. Third overall was a shock. Beckett Seneca goes third overall to the Anaheim Ducks. Now Seneca is gonna be good. He is solid. But we did not think he'd go top 3. We figured he would be a top 10 pick, maybe just inside or outside the top 10. But third overall was a shock last night. And I think it's good, but I feel like there were better options instead of Seneca. Carter, what do you think about that?
I mean, it's a great pick. I think there's definitely better players out there. But don't get me wrong, he's a terrific, probably one of the fastest skaters in the draft. I really like Beckett. I didn't like him as high as 3, but that does not take away from the fact that I really do like Beckett Seneca.
The Ducks have a history of tending to draft off the board, like Mason McTavish was off the board. So, and you obviously know that because you've seen a lot of it. But Seneca at third overall. Caden Lindstrom went fourth overall to the Columbus Blue Jackets. Great pick. We got that one right in our draft. I think Lindstrom, honestly, has a lot of potential. He's big, and I think that he's something that Columbus will add to their tool set on their offense, and they're going to have a pretty good offensively powered team in a couple of years. Ivan Demidov at fifth overall to the Montreal Canadiens. Literal steal here. There were points that Demidov was going to go second overall in this draft, even third at points. But dropping all the way to fifth at Montreal is a steal. They had a really good draft here today, or last night. Carter, what do you think about Demidov?
Getting him at 5 is fucking insane.
Yeah, I'm actually pretty jealous. I think Montreal's gonna have a really good team this coming or in the next couple of years.
Seeing the fact that he fell to 5 is making me so much more mad at the fact that the Flyers couldn't end up trading for that 4th pick because
I know.
oh my god, could you imagine Demidov and Mishkov on a line? That is just that would have been disgusting.
I know. Yep, 100%. 6th overall to Utah, Tija Ginla. That was kind of a shocker. I didn't think Ginla would go that high. I figured he'd be a little bit lower in the rankings. I also didn't think Utah would go in the direction of a forward. So that was interesting there too. But I like it. I think Ginla has a lot of potential, and I think that he already adds to a very good Utah offense. 6th overall was interesting. They took Carter Yakimchuk. Carter, did you really think that the top 2 defensemen in this draft that were going to go would be Artem Levshinov and Carter Yakimchuk? Like, Levshinov was expected, but Yakimchuk? That was a crazy pick. Now,
I didn't see him as being the number 2 defenseman taken.
Me neither. I figured that they would go with Perrick or Dickinson, or honestly Silyev was a guy that I thought they would go with, not Carter Yakimchuk. But I guess they need a big right shot defenseman in their pool. But still, interesting draft choice there from the Ottawa Senators. 8th overall, Berkeley Catton. I like Catton. He's undersized, but imagine a offensive core of Matty Beniers, Shane Wright, and Berkeley Catton. That is nice, and I'm excited to see that in the future from Seattle. Calgary at 9th, Zane Perrick. This is where the defensemen start going. Perrick, I mean, they wanted Tija Ginla, but they get Perrick. I think Perrick is a good choice for Calgary. For a defense that's been taken apart the last couple of years, I think Perrick makes the most sense there for the Flames at 9th. The Devils took Anton Silyev. This is a great draft. Great draft for the Devils. I think Silyev is perfect at this role. They need lockdown defensemen, and I think that for a team that struggled a lot defensively this past year with goaltending and defense, I think Silyev, who is tall as hell, is a perfect acquisition there, and I think that they're really going to like that. 11th overall to the San Jose Sharks was Sam Dickinson. Again, the Sharks had a really good draft here today, or last night. I'm going to be doing that a lot. I'm tired. But I think that getting Celebrini and Dickinson really puts this team ahead, and now they have a really good future with Will Smith, Sam Dickinson, William Eklund, like Celebrini. This is just such a bright future here in San Jose. Carter, how many more years until this team makes the playoffs, do you think, with the core that they're building? Because this team went from being god-awful to having a top 5 future.
I think we said kind of in our tier ranking that they had an S-tier future. I think it relied on one thing, and I feel like that was winning the lottery. Or it was something. There was something that happened.
Celebrini.
Yeah. So it was getting Celebrini, and they did that, and that moved them up to S. Now they add a great skating defenseman in Sam Dickinson, who's probably one of the best on London outside of Oliver Bonk. But, like, they got a terrific player at 11 as well, like, outside of Macklin Celebrini. So I think, realistically, we might be in a short timeline here for the San Jose Sharks to really kind of make a run at something, because they're building something special over there, and there are some players within that team, and they've made some great offseason moves too. They've made some good trades. They got Barclay Goodrow through some really sketchy, like from the Rangers kind of shit, but but I think they've made all the right moves this year. I think the GM, he's fucking killed it.
Mike Greer's cooking right now. He's had such a great last couple of weeks, and as well as that too, they're not going to be that great next year either. So that's another high draft pick. Like, this team is going to be special in a couple of years. 12th overall to the Wild, Zeev Buium. This is a steal. I remember me and Carter were exchanging back and forth last night, saying that I wanted Dickinson, he wanted Buium. I also thought we would go Cole Yzerman, because there were talks that we were going to go Cole Yzerman. But the Flyers trade down, the Wild trade up a pick to get Boyum. It's a steal at 12, though. I would argue Boyum is the second best or third best defenseman in this draft, and he's the last one to go off the board, which is impressive for the Wild. So imagine a pairing of Brock Faber and Zeev Boyum. That's gonna be fun to watch. 13th overall was where me and Carter are going to have some discussion. The Flyers, our favorite team, took Jet Luchenko. It's interesting, to say the least. Listen, we need centers. But I didn't think Luchenko was going to be our guy, necessarily. Carter, how do you feel about this?
To be honest, here's the thing. I don't mind the pick. Was it a little bit of a reach? Yeah, but if you love a guy, you love a guy. This guy, he's a great leader. I think I might have said it to you, but I know I said it to my dad. I said, this guy will probably be our Sean Couturier. Like, probably. One thing that I've noticed, so sorry to take this to football, but the Eagles, when they've been drafting replacements for the guys that have been there for like 10 years and were stars. Like, they draft center, they draft D-line. Like, they go after guys to replace them, to kind of keep that same culture. And I feel like that's what the Flyers kind of went with here by taking Jet Luchenko. I think he's got a great 200-foot game. He's a great leader, as Couturier is. Good offense, good defense, like Couturier. So I think it's a good pick, a little bit of a reach. I think, in my opinion, I probably would have liked Consta a little better.
Yeah, I want to Consta.
I'm not gonna lose sleep over this pick.
No, and I think that it makes sense. I get what Briere's doing. And now that I heard like what was behind what he was saying, I think that makes a lot of sense. It seems like too that he's really focusing on the 2025 draft. Before we keep going, the Flyers did trade their 32nd to the Oilers for a first in next year's draft. So unless if things change and they get their 2026 pick, they have 3 first-round picks next year. So that tells me they are planning on being bad next season. They weren't expecting to be that great this year, but they did turn out to be that great. So I am excited to see what Briere's going to do, but I like this pick. I think Luchenko is a project. He's got some time before he comes over. He's really going to have to develop, but I think that it's the right pick at 13th. 14th, Buffalo gets the steal of the draft yet again. They get Consta Hellenius. Last year, they got Benson, which was a steal. This year, they get Consta. I like the core that Buffalo's building. Hellenius adds to a great offensive core, and Hellenius is going to be great there. 15th, Michael Brandsegg Nygaard. I love Nygaard to the Detroit Red Wings. I think that is the perfect move. I'm a big fan of him. 16th overall, I think we got relatively close to this. Adam Juracek to the St. Louis Blues. He was one that we were predicting to go relatively higher and did go around there. So I like the Juracek pick. Into the halfway mark, Tariq Parasak for Washington. Good pick there. I think Parasak has some good potential. Saka Boisver for Chicago. They had a great draft. Chicago had a great draft. I know Jack is not here to talk to us about it, but they had a great draft. 19th overall was Trevor Connolly. Connolly has a lot of potential. Now, only because he said some anti-Semitic things on social media. It's because he's dropped. But Connolly, huge potential there at 19th. I think that he's going to do some good. 20th overall, Cole Yzerman. He dropped all the way to 20th overall, the New York Islanders. This is a good pick. I think Yzerman is a raw prospect. He has some things he needs to do to develop, but he had the most goals in the United States program history. I think the Islanders have a steal here. Carter, what do you think?
I wanted him at 13.
I did.
It was so at the start of this year, end of last year, it was almost starting to get to a debate on, do you take Macklin Celebrini? Do you take Cole Yzerman? And then the year started, and it's not like Yzerman disappointed. He played unreal still. Like, he still
played well.
He was still great, but everyone was pointing out like these few issues, and like he got the Cole Caulfield treatment, but worse, because Cole Caulfield was like a projected. He was like a top 5, top 7 guy, and he fell far. And this was a projected at the start of the year number 2 guy who fell kind of throughout the rankings, and now he's at pick 20. Like, that is an absolute steal for the New York Islanders. I think that'll really help them maybe get out of mediocrity.
Honestly,
not
yeah.
for next year, but I think that'll definitely help them. I was honestly, one thing I will say, if the Sharks would have drafted Macklin Celebrini and Cole Yzerman, holy.
That's why I thought they traded up for, because they traded up earlier in the week, from 14th to 11th, and maybe that was their plan too. Maybe they didn't expect for a defenseman to be on the board, but I figured that was going to be it. They traded up for Yzerman, because I had Yzerman going just outside the top 10, or to Philadelphia for that matter, not all the way at 20th. So the Islanders get a really good pick here. If they miss the playoffs next year, they get another solid pick in 2025. But I think Lamoriello has a chance here with this Yzerman pick to kind of turn things around for this team, where they're in like a point where they're kind of mediocre a little bit, and make them a solid playoff team again with a few more years of high draft picks. We'll see what happens. We'll see where it goes. The Islanders might make the playoffs next year. They probably will, because they always find a way. But Yzerman is a good pick at 20th. 21st overall, Michael Hayes to the Montreal Canadiens. This is also a really good pick. He's drinking a Celsius. Hayes has a good story, and it's a story that it makes me think he deserves what he's going through, or what him getting drafted to the NHL with his father passing away. That's a great story, honestly, and I hope that Hayes has a great career, because I think that he deserves it. And Montreal, too, had a really good draft, getting Ivan Demidov as a steal and Michael Hayes from the United States Hockey League. He's a project, though. He's a project. It's going to take a little bit to develop, and that's what a lot of these guys are. Like you saw last year, a lot of those guys were NHL ready. In this year's draft, a lot of these guys are projects, and they're going to take a little bit before they get to the NHL. 22nd overall, Yegor Surin to the Predators. I like this pick. I think Surin got good potential from the KHL. 23rd overall is Stan Solberg, a traded up pick from Anaheim with Toronto. Solberg I like a lot. I think it was probably like one of the other better defensemen in this draft that was underrated and did rise. So Solberg at 22nd or 23rd. 24th was Cole Bedoin to Utah. That was another traded pick there too. I think that's a good pick. He has some upside there to be a really good center. Dean Latorno at 25th overall to the Boston Bruins. Carter, this was one of the ones that we had right at 25th to the Bruins. How do you feel about this pick to Boston?
I like it. I think realistically, he's out of the first round. He's probably one of the biggest boomer busts.
Yes,
because he's not playing in a junior league. He's not playing college. He's playing. It's a AAA.
He's playing high school hockey essentially, and he got drafted to the NHL.
Yeah, in the first round. But I think that no matter what Boston is going to do with him, I still think that this guy will probably end up making the NHL, because you do not find people who are 6'7", skate like that, and are able to put up points. Like
he's 6'7". He could be the next Tage Thompson, but he's got a lot of development.
We'll have to see how Boston College goes. I don't think we're going to see him put up point per game in college. I think year one we'll probably see him put up 20. I can't see him putting up like 40, like being a point per game guy. I think we'll see him put up maybe half a point to set 0.7 per game, but I think he's still going to be a good NHLer. Not year one ready, but I think give him 2-3 years in Boston College. I think we're going to see him be a great player.
Yeah, give him some time. I think that with the right development, I think that he can become a spectacular forward. But again, it's a boomer bust. It's a high risk, high reward type pick. We'll see how it goes though. 26th overall to the Kings, they got Liam Greentree. This is a great pick. Greentree dropped because of attitude issues, and we've seen that in previous years. Players will drop if they have an attitude, and Greentree was one of them. He put up Great numbers on a horrible Windsor Spitfires team. So Green Tree to LA is a good pick here for the Kings. 27th overall was Marek Vonneker. Vonneker, again, the third pick from Chicago in this draft. They made out pretty good. They got Levshunov, they got Boisvert, they got Vonneker. So a good draft here from Chicago. When day 2 does conclude, which, by the way, we're recording this on day 2 of the draft, so we might miss some things. But I think Vonneker has great potential. Matvey Greedon at 28th to the Flames. Another good pick. Calgary had a good draft too. Got Perrick and Greedon. 29th overall to the Stars, Emil Hemming. They like their Finnish players, and I think that's a good pick for the Stars. 30th overall to the Rangers. They got E.J. Emery, not related to Ray Emery, related to the CFL player Ray Emery, or related to the CFL Emery, who I think could be a good pick there as a defenseman at 30th. Toronto picked Ben Danford. Weird pick. I feel like it's not a bad pick, but I feel like you could have gotten him like later on in the draft. Like I feel like you got him late second round. Like I didn't understand that. And then finally, Edmonton with Philly's pick took Sam O'Reilly at 32nd overall. So yeah, that is the first round of the draft. Carter, who would you say was the biggest winners and I guess losers of this draft? Who kind of fumbled their picks here? What do you think?
I think biggest winner, I'm going to go San Jose was probably a big time winner there. Montreal, definitely a winner there. I mean, I'd want to say the Islanders because they got a steal, but I mean,
Chicago had 3 picks. They made out very well.
Chicago did make some great picks. I will say I was confused with their Sacha Boisvert pick.
Yeah, but I
really thought they were going to take Cole Eiserman there.
That's what I thought too. Imagine Connor Bedard and Cole Eiserman, but I guess I wanted to go a different direction. Yeah. I think Boisvert's good. He's a project though. He's like a lot of the guys in this draft. He's going to take a while, and those United States Hockey League guys, they take a little bit to get there. So, yeah. I would say the Wild made out pretty good too. Getting Boyum at 12, that was great. And Buffalo to a Hellenius. Losers, I don't really know. I feel like it's hard to tell who like losers are in the first round of the draft. I do think there are teams that could have done better, but maybe we know something, they know something we don't. I would say like if we're talking about biggest shockers in this draft, Seneca at 3rd was a shocker for me. Yakimchuk at 7th, Aginla at 6th was a big shock. I would say all the defensemen dropping down almost out of the top 10 was a shock for me there too. And Luchenko dropping to Philly was a shock. But yeah, that's what we got for the 2024 first round of the draft. Now, when we record sometime early on next week, post free agency, we will talk a little bit about some trades that happened during the day of the draft. But we wanted to get this out of the way so we had this fresh and ready to upload. Now we're going to talk about free agency a little bit. So, again, the next time we record will be after day 1 of free agency at the very least. So, we're going to get into some guys here that I think are going to be on the market and just talk about them, think where we're going to go, and, like what the upside is. So, first off, Sam Reinhart of the Florida Panthers. He has 94 points. And is a Stanley Cup champion. Carter, I think he stays. I think that Florida's going to keep him around in Florida. I don't think he goes. What do you think?
I think he stays. I think he should. I think right after winning a cup and you're putting up, did he hit 60? He hit 60, right?
He was 3 goals away, but if you count the playoff goals, he was at 60. So
he put up over 60 points or 60 goals. Sorry. Through regular season and playoffs, and you win a cup. If you want the bag, go get the bag. But if you're there to win, stay in Florida. That is just, I really liked his fit there. I think he played really well. So, my prediction is that he stays. He stays.
He said that he wanted to stay too. He said this is his home. So I think he's going to get a nice payout there. One guy who is not going to stay, Steven Stamkos at Tampa. The Lightning were offering him, I think, like 8 years at $3 million. Yeah, no. After getting an 80-point season, I don't think you would want to have that contract. Carter, where does Stamkos go? To be honest, like where I don't know if I can see him going anywhere else but Tampa. Not gonna lie.
So I remember last time he was a free agent, Toronto was one of the teams that was in the mix. He'd want to go home. I don't know how much salary cap the Toronto Maple Leafs are going to have, but I cannot see a world where they do not try and go out to get Steven Stamkos.
They'll at least try.
I think
They'll at least try.
I don't know where Stamkos is going to go because really I can only see this guy as a Tampa Bay Lightning, a Lightning for life. But obviously, just couldn't get it done. So I'm gonna say Toronto's going to try and squeeze out a little deal for him there.
I think that Toronto will be in the mix. I think the Nashville Predators will be in the mix too. I think Boston as well will try and go out and get him because they need a center. I think that there's a lot of options out there for Stamkos, but again, it's kind of shocking to me that he's actually going to the FA market. Jake Gensel of the Carolina Hurricanes. This guy could really go a lot of places. I have mostly seen, though, Carolina, he might re-sign. There were some talks picking up that he might re-sign with the team. So we'll see there if that actually comes into fruition. But Carter, where's Gensel going?
There are so many teams that are going to be making pitches to Jake Gensel. There's the chance of him going back to Pittsburgh. There's the chance of him staying in Carolina. There's teams that are calling.
Vancouver? Vancouver was in the mix for when the trade were going on. So
yeah. If there's one team that I feel like is loading up because they're making a trade or attempting to make a trade for a defenseman right now, I think Detroit's going to try and make a run at Jake Gensel here.
They might try. They might try and go out and get him. I'm not sure if it fits the timeline, but I think that Gensel, if they want to make playoffs next year and they lose Kane, they lose Perron, they lose other guys that are free agents, I think you should go in the direction of maybe going out and getting Gensel. We'll see where they go. Jonathan Marchessault of Vegas, Conn Smythe winner, had a great season this past year. I don't think Vegas is the cap to keep him around. I would love Marchessault on Utah. I think Marchessault on Utah would be nice. I don't know where else I could see him going, to be honest. He's relatively older, so it'd be kind of like a bridge contract. Wouldn't be that expensive. Carter, anywhere in mind?
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. It's gonna be one of those moves that when we see it happen, it'll shock me. To be honest, it's one of those guys. Joe Pavelski, I think he's probably retired. If he does come back for another season, it will be with the Dallas Stars. I don't think it'll be anywhere else. Maybe San Jose. I doubt it, but it's always there. Matt Duchene of Dallas. He's 33, had a great season at getting paid $3 million. He won't get a massive raise, but I think he will get a significant raise nonetheless. Carter, where could you see Duchene going?
I don't know if I can see him leaving Dallas.
Really?
In my opinion,
Dallas tries to keep him around?
I think Dallas is going to try and keep him around.
It's going to cost more money, but I think that Duchene, there's a good chance that he will stay the route of being with the Stars. But we'll see. We'll see if he does. He could go somewhere else. We haven't heard anything that says that, but regardless, it is something to keep in mind. Sean Monahan of the Jets as well. Carter, is there a chance that the Winnipeg Jets keep Sean Monahan here? He got paid 1.9. This is his chance to get a legitimate, decent payout. But do you think the Jets keep him?
I think out of the free agents that we have, he's going to be the one that we're going to try and keep the most. Probably. I would like to keep Sean Monahan. I think he played really great for us, almost a goal a game. So yeah, I think my heart wants him to stay in Winnipeg, but I'm not sure. I'll say Winnipeg because I think we're going to try and make an aggressive pitch to try and keep him because we like to overpay a little bit and make some weird deals. But I think we're going to lose. I think we'll try and make a run at him.
We'll see what direction that goes in there. for Monahan. Ninth is Jonathan Drouin on this list. Drouin, I think, had a solid season with Colorado. Got paid like literally league minimum, but he was playing with Nathan McKinnon, so I really don't know what you were expecting. So I would honestly say he either stays with Colorado or goes somewhere else. I have no clue where he would go, to be honest. I don't know if Carter has anything, but like he's one of those guys that like I have no idea where he'd go. So yeah. Yeah, he probably stays, to be honest. Shane Gostisbehere had a great year with Detroit. Had a solid offensive season. I don't think he stays with the Red Wings. He could, but I think that he goes somewhere else. We'll see what he gets on the market. He's 31. So I think Gostisbehere could go anywhere and become a deadline guy. Could go to another not so good team. Could stay with Detroit. Who knows? Tyler Toffoli of Winnipeg, 55 points. Carter, you said that you don't think they're going to keep Toffoli. I think he walks. Do you still stand by that?
Yeah, I don't think we're getting him. I think he'll be gone after this. He'll be gone this season. As sad as it is to say, I don't see a world where unfortunately we keep him.
Yeah, going down the list here, Vladimir Tarasenko definitely doesn't stay in Florida if they want to try and keep Montour and Reinhart. He probably walks, to be honest. Where he goes, not too sure. Carolina's Teuvo Teravainen, it might be time for him to go as well. Stevenson of Vegas was a solid underrated center. I think there's some potential there for him to go either stay in Vegas or go somewhere else. Adam Henrique, deadline player, will definitely go somewhere else. David Perron will probably walk. Patrick Kane. Do we think Kane stays in Detroit or does he go somewhere else, Carter?
He's really hard to read because there's been so many rumors where he's going to stay in Detroit. No. He's going to go back to New York. No. He's going to go back to Chicago. No. There's so many different things that I've heard and that I've seen. I wouldn't mind him staying in Detroit, but I think if they go out and and Gensel's like, hey, I'll sign with you, I don't think they're going to reach back out to Patty Kane, even though he had a terrific season with them last year. I will say that. He looked great.
Yes.
For the Detroit Red Wings. So I think he should stay in Detroit, especially with how last season ended. Can never be too sure. So
yeah, I agree. I think there's a chance that he goes to the Rangers. To be honest, I think the Rangers could be a guy to go out and get him. We'll see if that goes into fruition, but I think that the Rangers were in talks during the offseason, so we'll see what happens there. Elias Lindholm of Vancouver. I doubt he stays with the Canucks. I think he goes to free agency. But could be one of the best centers on the market, to be honest. I think that he could go to Boston. He could go somewhere where a team needs a center and sign there for either long term, because I think he could get a legitimate payout this offseason with whatever team he goes to, because he has 29. So this is his final chance to really get a good payout here. Tyler Bertuzzi, I think, stays with Toronto. Anthony Duclair goes somewhere else, I think. I don't think he stays with Tampa. Warren Fogle could be a interesting fourth line guy with a team. We'll see if he stays with the Oilers, but I like Fogle. I liked him in these playoffs. I think that there's a legitimate chance there for him to go somewhere else. Other guys that are strays that I see on the board, Jake DeBrusk going to free agency. Brandon Montour is one of the lower ranked guys on this list, but one of the best defensemen here. I think Florida will try and keep him, but we'll see if he walks or stays or walks. Scrolling down here, Sean Walker for Colorado. I would like to see him go back to Philly. Not gonna lie, I wouldn't mind seeing him go back to Philadelphia, but I doubt it happens. Going down the list, TJ Brody. We'll see if he stays for Toronto or not. Kevin Shattenkirk for Boston. Corey Perry for Edmonton. We'll see if he stays or goes. Probably go sign somewhere else, and then that team will make the Cup Finals. But you know, and then we'll look at goalies real quick before we go and wrap this episode up. So goalies for the 23-24 free agency. Not a ton. Matt Murray's your best goalie on this list. Not sure how I feel about that. Cam Talbot probably doesn't stay with LA. Ilya Samsonov does not stay, I don't think. Anthony Stolarz. Had himself a good year with Florida. I think he could get a legitimate pay raise somewhere else. We'll see what happens there. Laurent Brossoit for Winnipeg. Carter, do you think he'd keep around Brossoit?
I'd like to. I think he's... The only thing is he's proven he can be a starter, too.
Yeah.
So
he's a serviceable backup.
Yeah. He'll be good somewhere. He'll either be a backup or a fringe starter where it's going to be almost like an Olmark Swayman type thing where it's back
a 1A, 1B type thing.
But I think he's a solid backup to fringe starter. He'll probably get 2-3 mil.
Yeah, that's what I think too. Scott Wedgwood on the board as well. I think is a solid, could be a good backup there too. I think he does stay with Dallas though. Casey DeSmith. DeSmith is an option there. Antti Ranta, probably not. He's 35. Same with James Reimer. He's 36. Martin Jones is still there too for Toronto. And then finally Kevin Lankinen, who's had some good seasons with Nashville, but we'll see if they keep him around there. But yeah, that is free agency, more or less. There are some guys that we did not mention. When we do make an episode on July 1st or July 2nd, we will be talking about some of the free agency moves that happened. So do stay tuned for that. But Carter, that's all I got for this morning pod here. Are you good to go here? Do you have anything else you want to say?
I got nothing else to say. All I will say is Flyers are loading up in 2025, and I'm excited.
Yes, 100%. But episode number 61 will be a very fun episode. We'll have Jack back, hopefully, to discuss some free agency with us. So I'm hoping for a very fun episode next Monday. But regardless, that'll do it for this episode of the NordCast. Thank you all for watching. If you enjoyed, make sure to like, subscribe down below. I greatly appreciate it. If you want to follow the NordCast Instagram, follow at NordCast _. If you want to follow the TikTok, follow at NordCast. But yeah, that'll do it for this one. Thank you all for watching, and we'll see you guys in the next episode. Adios.